Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Weather's cooling off little by little. It's kind of been falling through the day, clouding up more and more, and going to get a little chillier tonight. Something else that's dropping today is another $50 billion being sent to Ukraine. Recently Joe Biden wanted to send like 25 billion over there, and Congress said, nope, we're not allocating any more money to be sent to Ukraine. Well, they figured a way to get around that. The United States is sending 20 billion, and the rest of the G7 nations are sending 30 billion. It's not technically a gift, even though it is. It's a loan. It's a loan, a $50 billion loan being sent to Ukraine, and it will be paid for by proceeds from seized Russian assets. So all those Russian assets that's been seized because of this war, it's going to go towards paying this back, which I'm sure is just going to delight the Russians and Vladimir Putin. I'm sure it's just going to help further the whole peace process along, taking $50 billion of their money and giving it to Ukraine, basically, is what's happening. So we'll see how that works. It's not always a good idea to put Russians in the corner and make them feel threatened in that way. There's talk amongst European nations, NATO nations, kind of mocking Russia, saying that, well, now with Syria falling and Russia, running away from Syria, that we know that Russia can be defeated. And well, anybody can be defeated, but it's quite possible that all this could just cause things to kind of spiral out of control even more, which is kind of what we all expected. Israel is, they're hitting Syria hot and heavy, like I said. They've struck over 300 targets with their planes in the last couple of days, which is the most they've ever done in any kind of single aerial campaign. And of course, like I said, they have boots on the ground near Damascus, which is the first time Israeli troops have been in Syria in over 50 years. So this is a situation that is spiraling, and I don't think we've seen the last of it, even though at least right now it seems like it's something that doesn't affect us. I wouldn't be surprised if things don't just continually get out of hand there. Also, a biolab in Australia has a bunch of vials of deadly viruses missing. I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Deadly viruses missing from a biolab. Sounds a little strange and funny, huh? Not like we've ever gone through anything similar to that before. Of course, with H5N1 spreading, and then now China says that they have a couple of cases of H9N7, I think, another variant, rare, unusual variant. They've got some human cases of that. So, that's all spreading around. The preparedness topic today is, well, it is getting cold. And I've talked about this before. And of course, you should get your vehicle, make sure your vehicle is ready for the winter. Make sure you have heating fuel for your home, whether it's gasoline, or not gasoline, gas, natural gas, propane, wood, oil, whatever it is that you use to heat your home. If you can, make sure you have a good supply of that. Have a backup to that. Have an alternative heat source. You should have at least 2 different heat sources for your home in the wintertime. And then, of course, a kit in your car. You should have a winter kit in your car. But I also want to talk about just a few other things dealing with winter. The Bible even talks about, pray that you don't have to flee during the winter. I mean, that's Travis's paraphrased version, but that's pretty much what it says. And the way things are looking, and then also including the fact that there's a changing of powers in the middle of this winter, we could see some pretty crazy things happening. And I don't think it's off the table or out of the realm of possibility of very serious bad things happening to us in the United States, whether it's grid going down, even in certain areas. I'm not talking about nationwide. There could be regional areas where grid goes down. There's already been, throughout this year, multiple incidences where cell phones have gone down for periods of time. Supply chains, all that kind of stuff. When you're looking at all the things going on, we got BLM now claiming that they're going to start rioting some more because of what happened in New York. All that and more, and the fact that it's winter, should be enough to push yourselves to get a little bit more prepared. You know, do you have enough? Here's the thing. Most homes in the United States where they're located, you're not going to freeze to death in the wintertime. Now, I understand that there are some of you that live in areas where it gets very cold in the wintertime and that you really have to have some kind of heat source to survive. But most homes in the United States, you know, like where we live, if we didn't have a wood heat, or we didn't have gas heat, or we didn't have electric heat, or whatever it was, if we didn't have any heat source in our home, it's unlikely that we would freeze to death in our home. It may get cold in the wintertime, but we could bundle up, throw some extra blankets on. That's the point that I'm getting at. You should not just have heat source. You should have extra blankets. You should have extra clothing. You should have this stuff in go bags. You should have, you know, things like water and stuff in go bags. You should be prepared for winter is what I'm telling you folks. It is that time, and with all the crazy stuff going on, we have to be taking it serious enough that we get ourselves ready. I have a feeling that some people have slacked off. Maybe it's because it's taken forever for the end to finally come, right? Maybe it's because Donald Trump got elected and you feel it's okay to take a little break. I don't think that those are wise decisions. I think based on the stuff that we're seeing, you got to keep getting ready. So look at what you have. Are you ready for winter? Do you have the ability to heat your home? Do you have the ability to put on enough clothing in cold weather, whether it's rain or snow or a mixture of that, and to walk long distances? Do you have that? Do you have appropriate footwear? Do you have some insulated waterproof boots? Do you have good thick wool socks? Do you have changes of those socks that you carry with you? Do you have multiple layers of clothing? Does everyone in your family have that? You know, if you have to evacuate, if you have to bug out on a moment's notice, and it may not just be because the world ends. It could be that there's a fire in your home or something like that. And your family has to go out into the wild because you have to leave your home. Do they have the things that they need to keep them warm? I mean, a lot of times the men that are the ones thinking that we've got to go out there and brave the wild to defend our home, you know, we have appropriate gear, but what about the rest of your home? Do your children, if they have to bug out and it's in the cold middle of the night, and of course they didn't have enough time to put on all their layers of gear on and clothing, do you have something somewhere that they can put on? Do you have it hidden in your vehicle? Do you have it stashed somewhere on your property that you can run to? These are things you should be thinking about. Wool blankets, wool anything. I know they make a lot of great synthetic stuff that's pretty good, does the job, but you will never find anything better than wool when it comes to keeping you warm and cold, in the cold. So make sure you have some of that. I know it's a little pricey, but it's worth it. Do you have water sources? People think of getting dehydrated in the summertime when it's hot and you're sweating. You can become just as dehydrated, if not faster, in the cold winter than you can in the summer. Your body needs that water, that moisture, to keep your temperature, body temperature regulated. Yes, you need calorie intake, but you also need water. And so don't cut back on that. Make sure you have that available. Make sure you have a plan. I've talked about this often. If something happens and you're at work, or your wife's at work, or you're out and about doing whatever you do during your daily life, do you know how to get home, how to round up the family, where to go, what to do? Probably a good time to revisit that. Things may have changed in your life since the last time you thought about that. Things in this world has evolved and changed, and so you may be looking at things differently. Maybe you have different equipment, a different vehicle. you should be thinking about this stuff and making a plan. You should have an adequate kit, gear, some kind of get home bag, bug out bag. You need to have equipment in your vehicle in case you get stranded in the cold winter. For instance, just as an example, I worked a vehicle accident a couple of weeks ago. Everyone was okay. There was no injuries. And it wasn't a terribly cold day, but there was a cool breeze. And because of whatever circumstances that was going on, we were out there on scene for a while, and one of the vehicle victims was a young lady, and she had a child with her. Everyone was okay again, but she didn't really have a blanket or anything. And it was getting windy, and we were there, the sun was setting, and it started getting kind of chilly. And she didn't really have appropriate gear for that little baby. Not because she was not a good mother or anything like that, just because most people don't think of that kind of stuff. And so and of course we took care of it. Everything was fine. But the point is that things happen in our lives. And it's harder when it's colder. It's harder when it's wintertime. And it's harder to stay warm than it is to cool off a lot of times. And it's also more serious. So with all the stuff that's going on, pay attention to it, of course, but also understand how it relates to your life and how you should prepare for these events, especially the time of the year that they're happening in, because there's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening between now and spring, and you need to be getting ready for it. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.